And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with the Game Boy Geek.
Ahoy there, mateys! It's the Game Boy Geek here. Today, we're going to be on a pirate ship, going around different places. We're going to be raiding the trading routes. We're going to be going to the black market. We're going to be plundering treasure. We're going to be going to the tavern to get some rum. Today, we're looking at 21 Mutinies from Asylum Games. It's from 3 to 5 players, plays in about 45 minutes, ages 10 and up. And hey, it's a worker placement game that's pretty simple, but it has some meat there. Let's check it out. I'll show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. Arrgh. Okay, we have 21 Mutinies set up for 4 players here. We see the different colors in turn order here. We see a nice colorful board. We have a score track around the middle. And let's give you a closer look. So I just want to give you a closer look of the board and the colors and how the detail of the artwork. It's a very nice board. It looks very nice. The iconography is good. And overall, it just gives you a good feel of some nice islands and some nice colors there of the board. At the beginning of the game, everybody starts with some doubloons. Those are worth 1 doubloon, and then the gold ones are worth 5. And this is much better than paper money. It thematically fits. It's functionally better. And if you look closely at this money, you can see some of it's kind of weathered looking, which kind of adds to the thematic sense of it as well. Now, this is a worker placement game, so turn order is pretty important. And as we see here, this is turn order, and 1 is not a 1. It's captain. It's the skull and crossbones. They get to go first and the other captain, so let's show you how a turn works. There's 6 different areas that the captain can choose to go to and place his worker. Let's say he goes there and raids the trade routes. Now let's say he's going to go here and he gets to choose any one of these spots. Now there's only 4 of them here because there's 4 players. So let's say he chooses this. Now each player starts with a certain amount of money depending on the amount of players, and everyone starts with 1 rum. If I get this, now there's 4 different colors of jewels here, red, green, blue, and white. This is actually a wild. This allows you to use it for any type because you're going to be using these jewels as set collection later in the game to turn those into points. And so here it shows me that I have to spend 2 doubloons and a rum to get this. Now everyone starts with 1 rum, which is these black cubes in the game. And so I can pay that and take this and I'll put it face down. Now everybody else has 2 choices they can make, really. Everyone that's not captain can either choose to go to the spot that the captain went or not. Now the red player decided to go where the captain was going as well, but these 2 players are going to decide not to. One of the things they can do if they decide not to is to try to mutiny the captain. And they can place in this mutiny board here. Now this shows a different amount of doubloons they have to either get or pay depending on where they go. So for instance, if they go here, they would lose a point, but they would gain 1 doubloon. If they go here, they would gain a point and lose 1 doubloon. Here they'd gain 2 points, but they got to pay 3 doubloons. And here they get 3 points, but they got to pay 6 doubloons. So let's say the green player goes here, and he's minusing 1 point, but he's getting a doubloon there. And then the yellow player goes here, which is going to make this player very angry. He gets 1 point, but he spends 1 doubloon to do that. Because at the end of the round here, whoever has placed his and spent on the furthest to the right of this mutiny wheel is going to be the new captain. So what happens is after all the other actions are resolved, this player is going to be the new captain. Anyone else on the mutiny wheel will be next in line. And then the other player order sort of stays the same. So purple was before because he was the captain before, and red was there. Also, this player is now going to get to pull a mutiny card off this deck. There's 45 of these cards to start the game, but you're only choosing 21 of them, which is good because it has a lot of replayability factor. So let's take a look at some of these mutiny cards and what they might do for this new captain. Now when that player gets the mutiny card, some of them have this arrow on the bottom, which means it has to be played now. It's compulsory. Most of these basically say that nobody can go to a certain spot on the board until the next mutiny happens. So in this case, nobody can go to the black market action, which I'll show you later. Basically, of those 6 spots I showed you on the board that the captain may go, it basically blocks 1 of those spots off until the next mutiny. Then there's some with the time icon on it. This means you can play it whenever. And this basically means when this player takes a tavern action, he'll get 2+ rum, which is good in the game. Here is you could roll 1 or both dice again. There's certain times where you'll be doing that. And then there's some that have the map, which is the end game, which is, hey, okay, with 4 players, if you have 4, 5, or 6 of these cards, you'll get 2, 3, or 4 points at the end of the game. And And then this one's like, hey, at the end of the game, you can discard 2 rum. Because if you get caught with rum at the end of the game, it ends up being negative points. So those cards just do all sorts of cool little things. Now, if I told you, if you're not the captain, on your turn, you can either follow the captain to that same spot, or you can mutiny. The other thing you can do if you didn't want to follow the captain is go do a cabin action. This is available every turn if you don't want to follow the captain. And essentially, you could just take 1 doubloon, and if you're the only person that went there, you can steal it from anybody. Here you can just get 1 point, or you can trade in 5 doubloons for 3 points. That's it. Let's talk about the other 5 places on the board that you can go as captain and possibly following them there. Okay, before we were getting jewels in the trading routes and they were face up. Here you can go beyond the trading routes and raid and get some jewels. Here it's a little different. Here, the captain has to go here, and then the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th person there has to go in that order. The reasoning because, well, when you get one of these, you're going to get one face up, and you don't have to pay any costs. So, for example, this one would normally cost 1 doubloon and 1 rum. You don't have to pay that cost. What you do have to pay is, if you want to keep this, you have to pay the cost that's on your spot. The captain always gets it for free. The 2nd player has to pay 1. The 3rd player has to pay 1. The 4th and 5th player, if they were there, has to pay 2, but they get 1 rum for going there as well. So it's a little bit of trade-off as to how far you want to go there, and that's beyond the trading routes. Here's the same type of thing. If the captain went here, essentially it's getting shipwrecked plunder, and again, captain, and then this, you have to go in order, in the order that you're going there. And so the way this works is the captain gets to roll 2 dice, and if it's either of the dice is greater than 1, he takes a treasure. If also the other dice is greater than 1, he takes a doubloon because the captain has some extra things going on. The rest of the players will roll 2 dice, and player 2, if either of them are greater than 2, he'll get a treasure. Player 3, if either of those are greater than 3, he'll take a treasure. 4 and 5, if it's greater than 4 or 5, depending on the player, they'll take a treasure, and they'll get 1 rum just for going there. So it changes as how fast or how late you're there. I mean, hey, it might be good to go here. It's a little bit more of a risk, but you get some rum. Let's look at what some of these treasures are. Let's take a deeper look at the treasures here. This could be, hey, I'm going to turn in 1, 2, 3, 4 doubloons for 4 points. This one is, hey, it's 3 straight up points that you can get at the end of the game. This one is just, hey, I'm just going to get 2 doubloons. And maybe this one might be, ooh, look at that. You get a free wild jewel. So those are different things you can find in the treasures. The tavern action. The captain would go here first, and then everyone else, if they follow, they go in order, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in this case, the captain is going to roll a die once everyone has gone there. He's going to add 2 to this die, so 3 plus 2 is 5. The way this works is the captain automatically gets 1 rum. And then, because it's 3 plus 2, it's always just adding 2, you get 5. Let's say 2 other people followed me, the other person went and did a mutiny. The other person maybe went there. So here we have 5 rum in addition to this free one. So it would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So the first 2 players would have gotten 2. The captain actually got 3 because he got a free one. This guy got 2 and this guy got 1. That's how the tavern works. And of course, like some of the other spots in the tavern, the last spot you get a free doubloon or free 2 doubloons if you were to go in the tavern the last 2 spots. Okay, here's the trade routes. If the captain goes to one of these, again, you can either follow or you can do the normal mutiny or cabin action. So what you're doing, this is where the set collection of those jewels come in, because you're going to be trading in jewels for points, essentially. So there's 6 different spots. This one shows 2 different colored jewels. They actually could be 2 jewels, either the same color or different colors. Here is 3 jewels. They could be the same or different, any of those. This is 3 of a kind. They all have to be the same color. This is 4 jewels of any color. This is 2 pair of, 2 of one color and 2 of a different color. This is 4 of a kind. Depending on how well you do, the points get more as you do the harder ones. So let's say, for example, you remember when I bought these jewels, this one I had to spend $1, a doubloon, this one I had to spend a doubloon and a rum, and this one I just had to spend a rum to get it in the first place. But even though I spent stuff going there, I still can spend more rum with these to get more points. For example, let's say I was going to go here. This one is any 3 jewels. I have any 3 jewels there, but because these 2 have rum on them, I can, if I want, spend 2 more rum, 1 for each. I can only spend 2 because there's a total of 2 rum on all those tiles. I could spend 2 additional and get extra points, because normally doing these 3 tiles would get me 3 points. But if I discard 2 rums, because I have 2 and I throw down 2 additional ones, I'd get 6 points. If this one had a rum symbol on it and I was able to add another rum, it doesn't, but if I was, I would have gotten 9 points. So you can see that the harder ones that you get and the more rum that you're throwing out, the more points. You could get 14 points, which is a lot in this game, in just one swoop. So that's how the black market works. And the last space is going to the town. Again, these are not numbered, so if the captain goes here on one of these, Anyone else can pick any other one in order. This is, you can go to either the trade routes or the far trade routes and get the jewels, get jewels as normal. This is going to get treasure as normal. This is spending 2 doubloon to get 2 points. This is doing the black market action, which you just talked about. And this is doing the tavern action, which we talked about earlier. There's also certain marks on the board that once you pass, you get to get a free thing. Sometimes it's money. Sometimes if I pass this, I would be able to take a treasure card. Sometimes up here it's some rum. So we're rewarded as you go through the board. And this would continue until the last, or the 21st mutiny card is dealt out. It's the 21st mutiny. This is last mutiny. They'd get 3 points at the end of the game, and everybody would take 1 round. The other way the game can end is if all the jewels are gone. Everyone does 1 more round, and then we go to the final game scoring. At the end of the game, we flip these over, and you get to take the actions that are on here. If they're actions, or get straight points there. You get 1 doubloon for each jewel and each mutiny card that you still have in your hand or down there. So there'd be 2 doubloons, 1 for each of those. We then would also change doubloon in for points. So every 3 doubloons gets me a point. So I'd get 1 more point there. And then if you have any rum here, you lose 1 point for each rum. And then you see who has the most points, and whoever has the most points at the end of this is the winner. All right, well, there's 21 mutinies. So it is a pretty simple and basic worker placement game. Now, I know a lot of people have suggested that their go-to entry-level sort of gateway game for worker placement is Stone Age, but I also hear that a lot of those people are kind of burnt out on it. Like, they can end up going on way too long, sometimes a little bit, with the dice rolling and such, and so they've been looking for something that's just as easy, but maybe not Dungeons and Dragon themed like Lords of Waterdeep. This might be a good alternative to that for a gateway type of game for worker placement, because it is relatively simple in what you're doing. I mean, essentially you only have 1 worker per round, so that makes it simple. And then, if you're not the captain, essentially you've got 3 choices. Follow the captain, do a cabin action, or mutiny. And if you are the captain, you have more, but usually you're going to be the captain because you have something specific that you want to do anyway. So usually you don't have the analysis paralysis problem with this game that you will with other worker placement games. But even though it's simple, it doesn't mean it's bad or that there's a lack of choices or things like that, because I felt a lot of tension during this game. So many times the jewels got stolen that I basically wanted to do, and then, well, it got stolen. I'm not going to bother going there. I'm going to go do a mutiny so that I can be the captain. I can take my first action. And then I'll go to take the mutiny, and somebody else will take a more expensive mutiny after me, and then I'll get screwed up again. And so there was an interesting battle for being the captain. There was an interesting battle for trying to figure out and grab the things that I wanted. And even when I finally got what I wanted, I go to the black market, and sure enough, the captain took the 4 of a kind spot that I wanted. It's like 3 turns in a row, things got taken. So it does have the typical thing that people like about worker placement, which is the tension and the getting your spots stolen, and turn order is really important here. Getting the rum and adding those together and trying to get more points. It's an interesting game. It's not going to be game of the year or anything like that, but for an entry-level gateway worker placement game, it was quite enjoyable. And if you like the pirate theme and you're looking for that level of game, this might be one that you want to try out. 21 Mutinies.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.